Emma the bad guy for causing a scene at my surprise birthday party. Hi, I'm a 34-year-old male. My girlfriend is 28. Yesterday, it was my birthday and my girlfriend threw me a surprise birthday party and invited all of our close friends. There were probably 20 people and it was hosted at our apartment. So at some point, she pulls me toward the dining room table to open presents. One of the presents was something that I always wanted, a gaming laptop. It was so insane that she probably dropped 2K plus bucks on it. When I pulled her aside to our bedroom and asked how much she spent on it, she was like, "Don't worry about it, honey. I love you and want you to be happy." But I wasn't going for it and thought she was trying to show me up in front of our friends. When she tried to kiss me, I pushed her away and said, "What do you always try to flex your money on me?" So we got into a huge shooting match in front of all our friends and I finally left. I got a text from her this morning asking if I could talk and haven't replied to her because I don't know what to say. It's important to know that I don't make a lot of money and grew up poor, and she grew up with money and makes a lot because she's a doctor. So, am I the bad guy because I ruined the evening for everyone involved? Am I the bad guy for loaning my daughter-in-law something that will one day belong to my daughter? My daughter is 17, and I told her a few years ago that when she turns 21, I will give her her grandmother's pearls. She's my only daughter, and I think my mom will want her to have them. I didn't want to give them to her right away though, because I was worried my ex would take them from her. She was fine with waiting until 21 and very happy that I promised them to her. They are, however, still mine. My son's wife, then fiancée, asked to borrow the pearls for their wedding, asked her something borrowed. I agreed and loaned them to her. My daughter saw her wearing the pearls and asked me when they come back from their honeymoon if it was the same set. Daughter-in-law confirmed that it was and said she had borrowed them for the ceremony. She returned them before they left for their honeymoon. My daughter asked me why I loaned them, and I said I thought my mom would have liked being part of their grandson's wedding. My daughter said she's heard loaned out her pearls without asking. I told her they aren't here yet, but there will be one day. For now, they're mine, and I have a right to loan them out. She asked if she could have them now because she doesn't trust me with them anymore. I told her no, but I compromised and say I will give them to her for her high school graduation next year when she will be 18. She agreed to the compromise, but it's still miffed. Does promising to give someone a gift means I lose right to it prior to the giving? I don't think so. But what are your opinions? Am I the bad guy for taking all the colors off my son's shirts? My son is autistic and hates colored shirts. He said they rip his skin and hurt. I never buy him colored shirt, but his school uniform is colored, and sometimes other people buy him some, so I just take them to the tailor. My mother-in-law bought him several nice shirts for Christmas, and I just picked them up from my tailor. My son wore one to lunch with my wife's family yesterday. My mother-in-law was furious that I altered the shirt because they were very expensive. My wife asked me to apologize to her mother, but I don't think I should. It is silly from him to have shirts he will never wear. This way he will actually get use out of them. My wife said it hurt her mother's feelings, and we could have just bought him new shirts instead of altering the ones she bought. What is the point of the shirt just sitting in the closet unworn? It is rude to alter a gift. So, am I the bad guy for asking my husband not to invite stepkids out with us? Okay, so It's my birthday in a week's time. My husband and I share one child together who is a toddler, and I have two older stepchildren who are in their mid-teens. My stepkids live with us half the week, with alternating weekends. My husband tends to work this weekend that my stepkids aren't with us, and as I work in this week, it's quite rare that we are do anything me, him, and our children together. We do lots of family days out on the weekends. My stepkids are with us. Anyway, this year he booked my birthday off work, which was a nice surprise, and he said we can do anything I want. It might sound a little odd, but honestly, I just really like to take our toddlers somewhere a bit, focus it on them, and have a day out me, husband, and our toddler, as it's very rare that get to do something focused on their age group with both of us and our full attention. I have a really good relationship with my stepchildren, but when we go out, we tend to ensure it's older kid focused as they get bored easily. And they are at the age now where they don't want to do anything considered lame, boring, and will complain the whole time if so. They also struggle a lot with fighting between the two of them some most day out. There are at least one or two fallouts. It's life with teen, it's fine. But anyway, on my birthday, I would really just like to go somewhere, the three of us, where we can focus on the little one and not have to worry about older ones getting bored, arguing, wanting to go home, and so on and so forth. And see, as they weren't supposed to be with us this weekend anyway, I thought it would be a good opportunity to do that. So husband has now suggested he ask his ex if he can have older ones that day. They can come with us. I've said I'd rather know, to be honest, and it's now a big deal, and I'm apparently excluding and saying I don't like them. Never have or will say that. So guys, I'm at the bad guy for saying that to my birthday, a day where the older ones were never meant to be with us anyway. I'd prefer it if my husband didn't try and change plans to bring along the older ones, which means the focus of the day and what I wanted to do on my birthday will completely change. Also, edit to add, we're all going for a meal 2 days after my birthday, which is when older ones will next be with us. I'm at the bad guy for getting annoyed with my girlfriend for changing my last name to hers at the wedding for a joke. Girlfriend and I are heading to the wedding next month. It's a couple she knows getting married. I've met them once or twice. I don't know anyone else at the wedding. The other day, her friend called to check if he should also change my name on the guest plan. At which point she admitted to me that, as a joke, she had RSVP'd my last name at her last name, meaning it will be visible this way to other guests on the name tags at the table, and perhaps on other things. I was immediately pissed off with her and said I don't think it's funny, and she should have done it. She was indignant and upset, thought it was a funny joke, that I was overreacting and etc. You see, I'm aware it could be funny if you know your partner likes those jokes. We joke with each other about taking each other's name when we are married. You're joking that I should take hers and etc. But for me, this feels like a big overstep. For other thing, it's childish. I will be embarrassed for her friends and other guests to presume we are married, only to find out it's a dumb joke. And also for her friends to think we are not taking their wedding seriously. But also it feels like a power move. She knows that me taking her name would represent a victory for her. And so the joke feels less playful and more a competitive job at my expense. I have to put up with others believing I'm someone who took my wife's name and abandoned my own. No offense to anyone who chosen this, but my name is a part of my identity. and I disliked what being thought to have changed thoughts across about me. She grudgingly accepts my point of view, but in general feels more upset at having been told off, and that her naughty playful side is what people like about her, and that I'm at the fault for trying to repress it and being uptight. I just feel it's crossing a boundary. Also update. A lot of thoughts here, feeling blessed for all the balanced and constructive feedback I'm getting. Just to clarify, as I think my word choice has rubbed some people the wrong way, I have absolutely no problem with my girlfriend keeping her name if we married. Personally, giving up on my name goes against my values. Not because I'm a closed misogynist, but simply because I'm a person who values their identity. My girlfriend knows this and still choose to make our joke public with her friends whom don't know. So I'm the bad guy for serving my family food from the trash. For context, my sister and I grew up relatively poor. When I was 6, our mom took a promotion and moved 3 hours away. We found out in our adult life she had been hoarding her money and giving our alcoholic father a small allowance to raise us. With his addiction problems, it left us minimal money for essentials. By the time I was 16, we were technically on our own, and I was ransacking dumpsters to feed myself and my sister. I'm now in my late 30s, have a successful career, and live quite comfortable. My sister is also well off now. My wife and I have a great relationship. I have worked to stop some of my old habits from my upbringing. Some of my penny pinching techniques my wife graciously ignores, and don't let me save our money where I can. However, there is one issue we always can find a compromise. I can't handle when food is thrown out. Our daughter, she's 12, wanted chickens last year. That ended up being a good idea since our table scraps will do to them instead of being wasted into the trash. For the record, I hate when my wife shops our Costco. She buys too much for our family, which creates a lot of waste. I've asked her to at least donate what we don't need, or give it to me and I can drop it off to a homeless camp near my job. She promised to just buy less quantity, but that didn't last because she doesn't like grocery shopping more than once a week. Last week, I came home and found a sealed bag of lettuce, one whole cucumber, an entire loaf of bread, and potatoes in the trash can outside. The lettuce was expired, but looked fine. The bread was also expired, but had no mold. The potatoes had eyes, but weren't green or rotted yet. I went inside and started on dinner. A grilled chicken, which was the only item not from the trash. I made a salad and added the cucumber, used the bread to make croutons, and finally, I made mashed potatoes. We all sat down to eat. My wife mentioned how great the food was. I told her it was what she had thrown out earlier that day. She was completely mortified and grossed out. I told her I washed everything off before cooking it, but she said that didn't matter. My point was, if the food was good enough for us to eat, it should have not been thrown out. At bare minimum, she could have given to our daughter to take to the chicken. She argued back that I should have taken it from the trash and to the chickens, not to our table. She was irritated with me, fearing we all would have food poisons or something, but none of us got sick from the food. She said, regardless, it was wrong for me to prove a point in that manner and borderline abuse to serve the family food from the trash. I don't really see what I did wrong. There are starving people in this world, and for us to throw our perfectly fine food just doesn't sit right with me. So, am I the bad guy? Am I the bad guy for taking up space at the restaurant? I'm 27, male. often go up to eat alone. It's never an issue for me since I'm usually sat at bars or at the table for two. Recently, I wanted to go to a new place that had opened in the area. I went alone, but the hostess led me to a table for four. I asked if they have smaller tables or a bar seat, and since I didn't want to take up a spot for large groups. She said this was the smallest table and they don't do bar seating. The restaurant wasn't super busy, but definitely picking up it was dinner time. While I was sitting on my food, the attendants picking up big time, and there were people sitting outside waiting. I noticed at the host stand an older woman, man, two younger adults, and a kid were crowded around, and the woman pointed directly at me. I tried to ignore it since my food was about to come out. While I was eating, the group from earlier were sat in a booth not far from me. The lady who pointed at me a loud comment about how selfish young people can be, how sane people are so entitled they take things from others without a care. Then I felt something hit my neck. It was a weighted up straw wrapper. I turned to look where it came from and noticed everyone at the table was glaring at me, except the kid who was oblivious. I wouldn't say I have social anxiety, but I'm non-confrontational, so I went back to food. Then the unthinkable happened. The lady came over and asked for one of the chairs at my table, saying they squeezed five in a booth and just wanted a chair for the kid. Before I could get an answer out, since I was chewing, a server walked by. "Oh no, ma'am, we can't have the chairs moving around. Safety with the walkways." Well, why does one person need 3 extra chairs? I have a kid suffering and his parents horribly uncomfortable because you sat one guy at the table when you couldn't just give him his food to go. The server told her she needed to sit back down, but she kept ranting. "Oh, I have to sit comfortable at the table, too big for me. It must be so nice knowing I'm ruining another family's dinner." At this point, the hostess interjected and the server left. The hostess tried to shoo her back to her table, but the lady kept demanding an extra chair. "Ma'am, you told us to seat you in the first table that opened. The manager and I told you it will be squeezed and you still wanted it. Either you take this table or you can leave." The lady finally grumbled her way back to sitting, and I finished my meal, paid, and got the hell out. She was definitely unhinged, but I'm stuck wondering, am I the bad guy here for taking up a space meant for more people? Am I the bad guy for deceiving my wife into joining me for my drive to work? I'm 37 and my wife 31. Live in suburban area. I commute to work in a nearby city every day and she stays home. We have no children. My commute is generally about 2 hours. I can shorten this by 10, 12 minutes with some good timing and luck, but for the most part, it's a long commute. Now, what has often been a source of friction in my marriage is that 9 times out of 10, the moment I step in the door, my wife asks me to do something. She always has some miscellaneous chore that absolutely cannot wait. She wants me to take out the trash, make dinner, wash some dishes, or whatever else. I've told her time and time again that I need a bit of time to unwind from work, and then I'll happily do it. Last Thursday, after I asked her for time to relax, she said that I had 2 hours to relax after work. She insisted my commute home was plainly on time to listen to music and unwind. When I explained that driving in traffic was probably more nerve-wracking than work, she said I was just sitting on my butt. This Monday, I woke her up with me and said that I had a special surprise for her. She assumed I had taken the day off. and we were going somewhere special. She got dressed and we got in my car. I got to the freeway, where I told her that we were going to spend the next 2 hours sitting in traffic together, seeing as she considers that leisure. She immediately got upset at me for lying to her. We argued for about 20 minutes until she stopped responding. Then she started watching Netflix on her phone. Then she asked me to drop her off somewhere so she could Uber home. I did not. We got to my office building and she immediately jumped out of the car to find something to do. I went to work as usual, but after I finished, she was nowhere to be seen and not answering texts. Finally, I called her and she picked up the phone to tell me she had taken an Uber home in afternoon. Then hanging up on me. Since I did this, she wasn't said more than a word or two to me at the time. She seems to be really upset. But did I take this too far?